Hello and welcome everybody from Sibiu in German, Hermannstadt from Transylvania. So yes, I prepared another travel vlog about this beautiful region in Romania, which is called Transylvania. What should we know about this city? It was established in the 20th century when Géza II, Hungarian king, moved here a lot of Saxons. Saxon is a German nation, and they were moved here to defend the valley of the Vörös Torony, and this defending didn't went well, because actually in 1241 the city was demolished by the Tatars. Actually, it was not a city in that time, because it was just a smaller village, and also it was also called Hermannsdorf, because the leader of this Saxon people was called Hermann. This is a German male name, and Dorf means in German village, so this is why it was called Hermannsdorf. Well, after the Tatars demolished this place, the Saxons didn't give up, and they started reconstructions very soon, and the territory was increasing from all point of views very fast. It was developing and it became the regional center of the Saxons from Transylvania from every point of view. So it was an economical, trading and religious center for the Saxons of Transylvania. So because of this developing, the place gained its status of a city. So this is the time when they started calling it Hermannstadt, because the Stadt means in German city. So this is actually the origin how this city was called Hermannstadt. What should we also know about Sibiu? It's a very, very beautiful city. We have a lot of medieval houses and buildings, so it will be really amazing to discover this German legacy of this city here in Romania. So that also makes it very special, and also a lot of Germans travel here. So this is the main square of Sibiu. In front of us we can see the Holy Trinity Roman Catholic Church, built in the 18th century. I cannot show you this beautiful square now from a very good angle, because you can see there are houses of the Christmas market everywhere. And it's also very strange that there are fences, because only vaccinated people can go inside. This is why they have these fences. You can see that the buildings are very similar to what we can observe in Germany usually. Very German architecture style. And the main square is called Große Ring in German, and currently Romania is called Piazza Mare. The English designation means big circle, and the Romanian means just the big square. Let's go inside to this Pfarrkirche, how it is named in German. The Roman Catholic Church of the Holy Trinity, as I said. This is the City Hall of Sibiu. Next to the main square we can find the kleiner ring, the little circle. So this is a smaller square next to the main square, also called in Romanian Piața Mică, which also means the small square. You can also find here a lot of old buildings. It's really beautiful. Behind me you can see the council tower, which was built in between 1224 and 1241, so it's one of the oldest towers of the city. You can imagine this was one of the gates of the city, because you know, in the medieval ages it was protected by these high walls. It was like a fortress built to surround the city and protect the citizens, and this was one of the gates. In 1586 a tragedy happened here, because the painter Johann David was painting the gate arch, the facade, and it was crashing above him, and he died in this accident. And we can also see a memorial about this unfortunate event. Here we can see this very old memorial from 1586 in Latin language. Behind me you can see the oldest cast iron bridge of Romania. It was constructed in 1859, and it is called the Bridge of the Liars. Why is that so? Here was also a market where some old women were selling their things, their stuff, their merchandise, and they were famous about lying and always trying to double cross the customers. So this is why this bridge was called the Bridge of the Liars. Well, actually it has also an official name, the Liggende Brücke, which means in English the laying bridge. And well, nobody used this term, everybody was calling it the Bridge of the Liars. And here in the corner we can see the coat of arms of Sibiu, and the two swords across and the crown had a historical symbol, historical meaning, that the Saxons of Sibiu recognize the authority of the Hungarian kingdom and of the Principality of Transylvania. On the other side of the bridge we can see the construction year 1859, as I mentioned before. This is another very old building, the Butcher's Hall. There were a lot of guilds in the medieval ages, as you know, and each guild had different houses and centers. So this was the guild of the butchers, but the building was used also by other guilds. And they also kept grain here. Well, you can see in front of us the coat of arms of Sibiu, as I already explained. And there is a date of 1789. This was the year when massive reconstructions and renovations took place. So actually this is the current status of this building. It's a very interesting old building, built first in the 15th century and renovated in the 18th century. Currently you can find the museum inside the Ostra Museum, Museum of the Civilizations of Transylvania. And this is the absolutely splendid Luxembourg House. It was constructed in the 15th century and it was extended by this mansard in the 18th century. It's really beautiful. And what is the story behind? Actually, it was always called Luxembourg House, but the official name of Luxembourg House was given to it in 2005 when the Prince of Luxembourg visited Sibiu. Well, what is the story behind this? The Saxons, I already told you that the Saxons moved here in the 12th century to Sibiu. They were coming from the current territory of Luxembourg, of the Principality of Luxembourg. So actually they speak the same Saxon language. So when the Prince of Luxembourg came here in 2005, he was coming with his wife actually, and he was talking with the locals in the same Saxon language. As you can see, the House of Luxembourg has currently a lot of purposes. It's really multifunctional. In the basement we can find a coffee shop and also info point. You can also find the hotel inside on the second floor, and the consulate of Luxembourg is on the first floor. It's really interesting. And also linguistic research center is here. So some travel advice: if you are coming from Cluj, it's very easy to get here because there are some buses, like 2-3 buses in a day, and it's only 3 hours and 15 minutes to get here to Sibiu. And I don't recommend to take the train because there's no direct train from Cluj to Sibiu. You need to change the train, and it can take like 6 hours, and that's maybe too much. Well, if you are coming not from Romania but from abroad, there's a direct flight from Munich, and there are also some flights from Germany. As I said, Sibiu has a lot of German routes, so this is the main reason why it is connected with the direct flights to Germany. But well, I also wanted to mention that there are some flights from Bucharest, so you can also take the local airline company of Romania, Tarom. So there are a lot of options to get here. This is also a very old building, built in the 15th century, the Holy Mary Evangelic Temple. It was constructed in 1371. Absolutely amazing cathedral. För unsere Armen. This means in English for our poor. So this is like a donation box. We can see also not only on the box that it is very old, but also the texture, which we can see. It was used, it's typical Gothic, used a lot of times by the Germans. Similar to the St. Paul's Cathedral in London, we can also find here in Sibiu the crypt of the most notable persons of the city. They were doing the funeral ceremonies also here. And in 1796 they decided to not do any more funeral ceremonies in this church. But they made an exception in 1803 when the most notable person of Sibiu died. He was Samuel von Brukenthal Count. This count was really loved by the Habsburg Empire, and they named Samuel Brukenthal of Sibiu as governor of Transylvania. And on the main square we can also find the palace of Samuel von Brukenthal, and we'll go there next. So we arrived already to the Brukenthal Palace, which was built between 1778 and 1788. Count Brukenthal became very rich after he was appointed as the governor of Transylvania, and all of these money lead to the construction of this beautiful palace, and also buying a lot of Baroque paintings. And currently, nowadays, this is one of the biggest museums from Eastern and Central Europe, which contains 1090 Baroque paintings. It's really amazing, and more than 100,000 of books, so it has also a very rich and very big library. So after Count Brukenthal passed away in 1803, he wanted that this palace will become a museum, and everybody was respecting his last wish. So actually this museum is belonging to the evangelic church, and this is how the Count was wishing it. It's a very sad story that after the Second World War, in 1946, when Romania became a communist country, they were just simply robbing these museums. They took 80 very beautiful paintings with them, the Communist Party, and they moved it to Bucharest. And only after the fall of the communist era, after 1989, the evangelic church could begin to gain back this building, the museum, and also the paintings. And well, later, more than 10 years later, they actually got back these beautiful paintings, which were just we can say stolen by the Communist Party and taken away to Bucharest. So, well, we will go inside now, but we will not take a video about all 1090 paintings. I will just give you like a teaser. I will just make some recordings to show you around. But I will recommend really that if you travel to Sibiu, to visit this whole museum, where you can spend actually also one day if you are really interested about art. It's really amazing inside. At the entrance we can find the statue of Samuel from Brukenthal, born in 1721. This is the inner courtyard of the palace. That's a really fat cat. This is the garden of the palace. This is the Holy Trinity Orthodox Cathedral. It was built between 1902 and 1906 based on the plans of the architects from Budapest, Virgil Nagy and József Kommer. It's built in a Byzantine style, and we can also observe that it's very similar in some places with the temple of Istanbul, Hagia Sophia. If you didn't watch that vlog, I will link it for you. Actually, it's in Hungarian, but it has English subtitle, so it's worth to watch that vlog also. Probably because of these cupolas, it's compared to the Hagia Sophia from Istanbul. And this is the Bethlehem House, or also called House with Caryatids. Well, what are these caryatids? You can see two woman statues, which are actually columns keeping this balcony. Those were used very often in the ancient architecture, and these are what we call the caryatids. So in 1786 this house was built by Mrs. Gergely Bethlen in late Baroque style, and this is why it is called the Bethlehem House. Next to the Bethlehem House you can find a very old Reformed church. It's a Calvinist Reformed church built in the end of the 18th century at the order of Joseph II, the emperor of the Habsburg Empire. Well, there's only one advantage that I chose to travel to Sibiu in this very bad weather in December. It's raining and it's very cold. It's like 1-2 degrees usually also in the during daytime. We can take a look at the Christmas market in Sibiu. It's very famous in Transylvania and also very shiny, very beautiful. So I will include this in the vlog also. This is the square of the goldsmiths. Of course, Sibiu had a lot of gold craft, a lot of goldsmiths here in the medieval ages. And in front of us you can see the passage of the goldsmiths. These are very old buildings from the medieval ages, but they were extended and reconstructed during the years, of course. And originally they didn't have such big windows. It was these buildings were designated to defend the merchandise, the gold. So that's why it was such a narrow passage that they could control the entrance to this square. This very narrow passage is really wonderful. (1868). This is also a very old building. It's the temple of the Ursulines. It was first built in 1474 for the Dominicans, but after the Dominicans left the city, it was given for the Lutheran church in 1543, and in 1755 the Ursulines sisters got this building. With the financial help of the Queen Maria Theresia, the Gothic church was reconstructed in a Baroque style, and it's a very sad story that this church was given to the state. So actually in 1949 the Communist Party took over this church from the Ursulines, and still until now they didn't get it back. This is the Fenflinger passage, constructed in the 14th century. It was designed to connect the higher ground of Sibiu with the lower part of the city. So it was really useful in the medieval ages. It's also very beautiful. This is the Arbuzier's tower. It was built in 1450. It has a very interesting octagonal shape, and it had a very important role in the defending of the city in the medieval ages. As you can see, we can find a lot of medieval towers of Sibiu intact. They are really beautiful. This is the Potter's Tower. Historians still have a debate when it was constructed. Actually, there is an information panel where I can see that it was constructed in the 16th century, but according to my informations, there are two theories that it was constructed in the 16th century or in the beginning of the 19th century. But anyway, it's still nice to have such elements of the history. And this is the Carpenter's Tower, built in the 15th century. So this was the vlog about Sibiu. Well, maybe I didn't include all sightseeing attractions because I just spent here 2 days. So actually this was everything from this walk. And in the meanwhile also the sun started to shine, so it was a little bit better weather in comparing with the morning when it was raining. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this vlog, and if that's so, please subscribe to my channel. And it's very important to push on the bell icon, because this is how you get notified about the new contents, and I promise you that there will be some very interesting and exciting new travel vlogs in the future. So that's everything from Sibiu. Have a nice day and goodbye.